ones who have paved the way for us to be where we are in our lives right now, here in this beautiful majlis where we are. Please remember all of them, and for all of their souls, let's make a sort of flag. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواحنا نترى بمقدمه الشفاء فقد قال الله في كتابه المجيد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم صدق الله العلي العظيم. For the hastening of the reappearance of our Imam, please recite a louder salawat. To the extent that you have the love of Amir al-Mu'mineen in your heart and that you wish for him to become your wasila in the next life, please recite the loudest of salawat. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. First and foremost, I want to extend my condolences on this day, on this night. It's a night where it's difficult to talk and speak because of the amount of loss that we face on this night, on this coming day. And despite that, inshallah, we'll mention a few words, inshallah, it'll be something beneficial, something that would be pleasing to Amir al-Mu'mineen to have heard that his lovers, the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, were talking and speaking of this content. What we have been talking about so far is on the path to true and ultimate success within our lives. We face a barrier which is being trapped within this world, being trapped within seeing the material means that are within this world as the only thing that is there, as the thing that's the only thing that matters. That the glitter and the glory of this world is what matters most, as that that's what's the real thing, what's worth it. And this is something that we mentioned, that everything in Islam, everything that we do, that Allah SWT has asked us to do, is geared towards removing this sort of false image of this world from our minds. The prayer, the fasting, every single thing, all of our interactions, how they're supposed to be, are geared with this in mind. That it's supposed to help us train our minds, train our hearts to let go of this world and to seek something that's fundamentally better and more than this world. Now, the ayah that I read in the beginning, it's a difficult ayah to think about. Allah SWT is talking to us. The whole Quran is Allah SWT speaking to us as an individual, every single one of us. It says, Ya ayyuha al-insan, ma gharraka bi rabbika al-kareem. O humanity, what is it that has deceived you away from your Lord, the generous Lord, the giving Lord, this noble Lord that you have, that's always giving you? Why have you turned away from him? Now, that's something that we need to think about. It's not something that anybody can just, give us an answer. Sure, there's generalities, and we're talking about the generalities here, but that's not sufficient. Sometimes, I'm going to take a break from what I'm actually talking about. speeches and things in general. Sometimes people expect that someone can come on the member like this, give a speech, give a talk, and it'll cure all of their ailments, make them become the perfect Muslim, and like a wave of a hand, as if it's that easy. As if I or someone who else better than me, even if the Prophet himself was you, that they can just say words and it'll change me, as if I don't need to make any effort. That's not how it works. There's nothing, insan has nothing except for what they strive for. If we don't work for it, if we don't ponder, if we don't think, if we don't ask ourselves the difficult questions, none of it counts. No one can give us that. We have to take it. We have to take those steps ourselves. So we have to ask ourselves the question, especially on nights like this. Especially on nights when we're remembering Amir al-Mu'mineen. We have to ask ourselves questions, difficult questions, harsh questions, blunt questions. Why are we the way that we are? Why aren't we better? Why have we been making mistakes? Are we headed in a direction that we're supposed to be going? Is the trajectory of my life in line with what I claim it to be? If I don't have the courage to ask myself these questions and be honest about it and be ready to change myself in anything and everything that I'm doing until I become purely in that way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I'm missing the point of religion. I'm missing the point. So that in mind, inshallah, we'll go back to the verses that we had mentioned at the end of yesterday. Not at the very end, but right before. If anyone wants to open the Quran and look at it, then I encourage you. It's the month of the Quran. We should have the Quran in our hands at all times that are very close to us. If you have the Quran, then open the Quran, inshallah, look at it. On page 170, if you have the traditional Uthman Dala script, but if you don't, then it's Surah A'raf, verse number 157. It says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. I'll skip the beginning portion of it. It talks about, it is describing the Prophet in what he is doing, the mission of the Prophet. It says it at this point, in the middle of it, it says, يَأْمُرُهُمْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَاهُمْ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. He enjoins the people to the good and forbids them from the bad. By the way, it's a side point. But have we ever thought, why is it that ma'roof, the word ma'roof is used to describe good things, and munkar is used to describe bad things? Because in Arabic it doesn't mean good or bad. Ma'roof means something that's known. Munkar means something that's not known, something that's sort of unknown. That's why if something is not a proper noun, it's a common noun. In Arabic it's called nakara. So why is it that good is called ma'roof and bad is called munkar? It's because of this. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pointing at the objective of society. The objective of our society is to reach a point where good is the only thing that's known, and evil has reached such a state that it's not known. You don't even know bad actions because it doesn't exist. That's what we're aiming for. Let's not fool ourselves by aiming low. We're aiming for something astounding. We're aiming to change the trajectory of the whole world. That's what we're aiming for. Going back to the verse. That's one thing that the Prophet has come to do. Second thing, يُحَلِّ لَهُمْ طَيِّبَاتٍ وَيُحَرَّمُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْخَبَائِثِ. He came to make halal the things that are clean and make haram the things that are ugly and dirty. And the third thing, وَيَدَعْ عَنْهُمْ إِسْرَهُمْ وَالْأَغْلَالَ الَّتِي كَانَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ. And he came to relieve them, meaning us as well, relieve us from the burdens and the shackles that are containing us and limiting us. فَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِهِ. And so the ones who believe in the Prophet, have iman in the Prophet, وَعَزَّرُوهُ, and they give him support and give him his dignity that he deserves, وَنَصَرُوهُ, and help him. وَاتَّبَعُوا النُّورَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ مَعَهُ, and they follow the light which was came down with him, meaning the Quran. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. These people are the successful. These are the ones who have success. Nobody else. So if we were to look at this, if we want to attain any measure of true success, we have to see, are we in line with the objectives of the Prophet or not? The Prophet's objectives are clear. He's putting them out. Are we supporting them or are we going against them? Are we looking in each portion, in each dimension of our life, each moment, to find out, are we doing what our Prophet wants us to do? Or are we apathetic and not caring? The only time that we think about Islam is when we're, alhamdulillah, in these majalis. That's how it is. That's not Islam. That's not Islam. You can't believe in part of the book and disbelieve in another part. It doesn't work like that. It's one whole package. It's everything or nothing. If you look at this ayat, we talked about how this يَدَعْ عَنْهُمْ إِسْرَهُمْ وَالْأَغْلَالَ الَّتِي كَانَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ, this relieving of the burdens and the shackles that are on us. If you look at it, it's this concept of freedom. But it's different from the freedom that we think about. It's another one of those concepts that we have to deconstruct and reconstruct properly. When we think of freedom, almost always we think of freedom to. Freedom to do this, freedom to do that. Over here it's freedom from. Freedom from something is holding us back. This idea that this world is all that matters. Freedom from ignorance. There's a story, there's a bit of debate on whether or not the story is true or not, but it's in our hadith. We can mention at least, inshallah, it is something that's true. And if not, there's nothing sort of questionable about the content of the story. The story goes that at the time of Imam Qadim alayhi salam, you're going to recite a salawat for the Imam, recite a salawat the Imam deserves. So at the time of this Imam, he's crossing, going on the street, and he passes by this large, very fancy house. From this house, he hears a lot of music coming from. And at that time, a servant comes out of the house and carrying some sort of trash, things like this. And the Imam addresses the servant and asks the servant, is the owner of this house a free person or a slave? The servant's confused. He's like, a house that's this big, that's this fancy. Obviously, the owner is a free person. How can he be a slave? And the Imam said, yes, that's true. If you were a slave, you wouldn't be hearing this. If you were a slave, you wouldn't be like this. And the Imam continued walking. The servant goes back into the house. The owner of the house asks the servant, what took you so long? What happened? And he tells him, what occurred in the conversation. Right? And then this person, the owner, gets so affected by this that he runs out of the house. Runs so fast that he doesn't even have time to put his shoes on. This is why his name is known as Bishr al-Hafi. Al-Hafi meaning the barefoot. He becomes known by that after this. He runs after the Imam asking him, what did you mean? What did you mean that, I must be a free person? He said, look, if you're a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you obey Him, and then you become free from everything else. But if you are not a slave of Allah, then you become enslaved by everything else around you. You think of yourself as free, but in reality, you're enslaved by even the slightest desire that you have. You have no control over yourself. And the story goes that this person had a dynamic change in how he was from that moment forward. This is something similar to the change that we need to make within ourselves. We need to come to a realization that either we're going to be a servant and slave of Allah or a servant and slave of something other than Allah. We don't have a third choice. And we have to ask ourselves, do we want to be the slave of a master who is every moment looking for our benefit? And everything that he does and asks us to do is for our own benefit? Every single thing. Or do you want to be a slave of something else? My desires that lead me astray, that don't give me any particular benefit. Half the time they become unfulfilled. Other half the time I kill myself in their pursuit. No lasting anything. What am I searching for in this life? These questions, they matter. And they're not easy things. It's not easy to just, have an answer to this. Yes, we're all Muslim. And that is the ultimate answer. But that answer only counts if we truly believe it in a way that it shows in our actions. We see at the time of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, what was happening reaches a point where he's asking people to join him to fight against Muawiyah. In the summertime, they say it's too hot. In the winter time, they say it's too cold. Fall time, they say it's time we have to go to our fields, plant the crops and all these things. Springtime, they say we have to harvest. Excuse after excuse after excuse. It's easy for us now, 1,000 years later, to go and say blame them. But so let's take a moment and look at ourselves. If Amir al-Mu'mineen were here right now, in front of us, would he look at me and you and say, this is my Shia? Or would he not? It's not lip service that he needs. It's our actions. The followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen reflect Amir al-Mu'mineen. They're the most similar to him. What is important to Amir al-Mu'mineen becomes important to us. If I look in myself, do I see anything at all resembling Amir al-Mu'mineen? That's the question I have to ask. Please just say Salat al-Mu'mineen. When we see that and ask ourselves questions like this, it shows the importance and relevance of commemorating these great imams and personalities that we have. The greatest example of it we have is Ashura in Karbala, Imam Hussein al-Islam. The purpose of commemorating the tragedy of Imam Hussein al-Islam is not just to cry. Imam Hussein al-Islam has no need for our tears. Hazrat Fatima Zahra does not need us to condole her. They're above and far beyond anything that we do to have any major impact on them. It's for us, not for them. And so if I see that I'm crying for Imam Hussein al-Islam, but my actions are not changing, and I should remind myself that Umar ibn Sa'd was also crying in Karbala. That tears on their own don't mean anything. The tear has to change me. The commemoration has to change me. If I take myself to be the Shia of Ali and the Ahlul Bayt, then it has to be seen in my actions. The first place where it should be seen is, am I doing my wajibat and avoiding al-haram? That's the first, most important thing. Without that, there's no chance. Without that, there's no chance for me to be of the followers of the Ahlul Bayt. Everything else, all of the a'mal we do, the mustahabbat we do, the commemoration we do, everything else, if it doesn't have the wajibat and muharramat, it's meaningless. That's where I have to look at myself. Let's not fool ourselves. Let's be honest, at the very least, be honest with ourselves. I can put a false face in front of anyone, but let me not do it to myself. Let me look in the mirror and be honest with myself. Am I truly acting like a follower of Amir al-Mu'mineen, of Hazrat Fatima Zahra or not? If they were there in front of me, would they be proud to call me their followers or would they not? Yes, most of the time it's not a black and white answer. There's gradients. All of us are on a journey. There's very few people who are absolutely bad or absolutely good. We have to reflect and change the things that are bad. It's not enough just to sort of say, I did one or two good things. Look at it. Look at history. Where did Ibn Muljam start? The one who strikes someone on the head starts as a companion of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Shimr is one of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He fights on his side in Nahrawan. He almost becomes shaheed on the side of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Just because we do 1, 2, 3 good things doesn't give us any guarantee. It's a lifelong struggle. That is the struggle of our life. If we want it to mean something, then we have to constantly be on the struggle. Everything else in our life, everything else, the money, the wealth, even our families, none of it inherently matters unless it's used on the path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This world and all of it is like a mirage. If we're going to chase it, at the end of the day we'll get nothing. But if you know it's a mirage, you can use it. It becomes a tool. It becomes knowledge. It becomes a way forward to something real. Inshallah, we'll mention a few words of Musibah commemorating the Mu'mineen of Islam. السلام عليك يا أمين الله في عرضه وحجته على عباده. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين يا علي بن أبي طالب ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear brothers and sisters, oftentimes in the musibah of the Ahl al-Bayt, we don't concentrate on the biggest musibah. The biggest musibah of the Ahl al-Bayt is our musibah. Our musibah is that we have to ask ourselves, if we were there in history, if we were in Kufa, if we were in Karbala, if we were in any of these places, which side of the battlefield would we be on? The fact that we have to ask ourselves that question and we might not know the answer is the biggest mistake. The fact that we don't know if Amir al-Mu'mineen would call us our Shia, his Shia or not, that's the mistake. On this night, Amir al-Mu'mineen is laying on his bed, wounded, bandaged to his head, that's made yellow from the poison leaking from his wound. At this night, all of his companions have left. Only ones that are remained inside the house are his children. But outside the door of the house, you can hear the dua of his supporters, of his lovers that are outside, praying for his betterment. Amir al-Mu'mineen sends Imam Hassan, telling Tell the people to disperse, tell them to go away. Imam Hassan goes, he tells them all to go away. He goes back to inside the house. Amir al-Mu'mineen goes to Imam Hassan again and he says, go back again, make sure none of them are there. There's no more hope for me to become better. There's no more time to come and talk to me. Imam Hassan goes out. Sees all of them have gone except for one person. One person is leaning his head against the wall, sitting down. He says, didn't you hear what I said? Go away. This person, the companion by the name of Asma ibn al-Mubata, he turns to Imam Hassan, he says, Ya Hassan, everything I have in my life, my whole world is in this house. Where should I go? I don't have anywhere to go except for this house. Everything I have is Ali. Everything I have is the love of Ali. Where should I go? Once he goes back inside the house, he tells him all this. He says, it's okay. Tell him to come in. Ya Imam Ali, you took his hand. You took Asma's hand and brought him into your house. Tonight we ask you, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, take our hands as well. We're also outside your door. We don't have anywhere to go except for your house. Take our hand and let us be inside your house as well. As Muhammad Bata comes into the house, he sees this bandage on Amir al-Mu'mineen's head is so yellow. His face is also yellow. He doesn't know which one is more yellow. The bandage on Amir al-Mu'mineen's face from the poison. He sees the doctor come in and the doctor says, there's no medicine I can give for Amir al-Mu'mineen. These are the last moments of Amir al-Mu'mineen's life. But Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, in this last moments of your life, you know that your children are safe. You know that the family of your household are all safe. They're secure. They have supporters all around them. We have our Imam saying, Imam Ramadan says to his companion, إن كنت باكيا لشيء فابكي للحسين. If you're going to cry for something, cry for Hussein. On the last moments of Imam Hussein's farewell to his family, when he's leaving Zainab, he's going towards the battlefield, his supported, he hears the cry saying, Mahlan, Mahlan, Yabna Zahra. Slowly, slowly, O son of Zahra. Zainab doesn't want you to go that quickly. Doesn't want the last moments that she sees her brother safe to be over that quickly. But there's no peace for Zainab. After this, there's not just the Karbala, but there's Kufa and the prisons of Sham. على لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون.
يا حسين 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 يا حسين
أجرة الله أحمد إن شاء الله بحرمة